What's up to all of my aquas out there? Welcome to Pulse of the Cosmos. I am your astrologer, Emily, and today we are going to be looking at this full moon happening in Pisces on September 1st, 2nd of 2020, depending on where you are in the world. But for you guys, my aquas, okay, so this full moon is going to be hitting your 2nd and 8th houses. So, of course, the moon will be over there in Pisces, your 2nd house, illuminating that space of your life, while the sun is in opposition to the moon over there in Virgo, your 8th house. And when we're looking at the sun kind of traversing through this space of your 8th house, it's a very transformative period about once a year that you go through as the sun comes through this space where you're really looking inward and you're really looking to get in touch with your deepest, most intimate wants, needs, and desires out of this life. And as part of that process, you have kind of even these psychological compulsions come up to the surface, and that's where the awareness is tuned into. Is this a psychological compulsion that's not actually connected to my deepest wants, needs, and desires? Is this just some kind of psychological habit that's inhibiting me from growth and from connecting to things that I truly find value and worth in? The moon is over there in Pisces, your 2nd house. This is the 2nd house of worth and of value, of self-worth, self-value, material worth, material value. So there's a balance here in connecting those deepest wants, intimate needs, and desires to what your true values are. What do you truly find worth in? Where do you truly find value in this life? And are we just kind of aimlessly kind of walking through and disconnecting from a bunch of things when there's a need to plug in. There's a need to plug in some energy here and kind of re-enter into the reality a little bit. We do have this moon in really positive aspects to Uranus. It's going to be making a sextile over to Uranus in Taurus, your 4th house. So this is your 4th house of your emotional world, of your emotional security, your emotional stability. And with this sextile with the moon over there, these are things really coming together. These feelings of self-worth and self-value and kind of that inherent inner stability coming together and kind of helping to stabilize your emotional world, helping to stabilize your home life, helping to stabilize kind of that inner sense of emotional security within yourself. There's a lot of moving into kind of more secure places. There's a lot with the 8th, 2nd, 4th house. We're looking at a lot of aspects to do with stability. And we also have another player in this full moon, of course. We have Venus is going to be directly in opposition to Saturn for this full moon. So Saturn over there is in Capricorn for you guys, your 12th house, where things that used to work in your life are really kind of changing. This has kind of been the process of Saturn coming through the 12th house for you guys for the past 2.5 years, where we're really having to adapt and even kind of break through some of these barriers where we've been used to doing things so long for such a way in our lives. And now we're really forced to change and kind of grow through that. And with Venus in opposition over there in your 6th house of Cancer, this is your 6th house of your day-to-day life, your routines, your reality. So it really is kind of about making your reality, restructuring your reality in such a way that there aren't those barriers holding you back, that you aren't holding on to any of those restrictions of Saturn over there in the 12th house, trying to hold on to an old way of doing things, an old way of approaching relationships, partnerships, projects you're involved in, home life situations, whatever it looks like to you. There's an old order that's kind of been passing, and we're stepping into new identities and a new version of identification and of authenticity, and like I've mentioned, into those forums where you feel fully comfortable to self-express within the relationships, partnerships, projects, and situations that you're involved in. There's a balance there. There's a give and take there. But in any case, let's see here. I'm going to dip into the cards for you guys. This full moon is definitely a very positive full moon. It brings inspiration. It brings immense amounts of clarity into our lives when we're looking at this big, beautiful Pisces illumination. And not only is our intuition and our psychic abilities kind of heightened throughout this Piscean full moon, and we're encouraged to kind of lean into with what our intuition is guiding us towards. This is our transcendental soul kind of nudging us in the direction of our evolutionary path while we're here on this 3rd dimensional plane. So we need to be taking heed to some of this inner guidance that maybe we've been ignoring a little bit and kind of step into that. But in any case, it's also going to be good because we've got not only heightened intuition, but heightened perception and mental awareness with the sun and trine to Uranus for this full moon as well. So lots of positivity to be had, but it's an owning that worth and value and creating that stability within yourself to really create the kind of world that you want to live in around you. So let's see here. We pulled the Justice card first. And then we pulled the Two of Wands coming up next. And then we pulled the Nine of Wands coming up next. So interesting. Immediately what I'm drawn to here is this Two of Wands kind of coming up in the challenge spot. And this is definitely, the figure has the world in his hands here. It's like opportunities to go out and kind of explore in your life, but he's still behind this castle wall. There's still almost like a hesitation to move in or to commit into a certain direction in your life. And this hesitation can really hold you back. Like I said, restrict you in kind of those blockages. And this could be like the old way of living behind this castle wall, that old order of your life that's passing, those kind of things that used to work that are changing in your life. And now we've got to step out and explore what's new and what's working and what's stimulating, and kind of seize the world that's available to us. And the challenge is in for, it looks like a lot of my Aquarians kind of doing that. And when we pull the Justice card coming up first, there is a sense of decisions that comes up with this. Justice kind of serves a decision, and it also takes action upon the decision, right? And it keeps the balance of things. So look to your life and see, again, we have a lot of action towards the stability aspect with this full moon, and see where you can kind of make some minor shifts or changes and adjustments in your life to add to that stability into the structure of your life, and take action upon them. Take action upon these decisions and these judgments and these discernments that are coming into your life so that you can move into new spaces. Don't get so hesitant, maybe even over questioning your mind. Maybe you're kind of going back and forth too much. Make the decision. Go with that intuition of this Piscean full moon and get out there and kind of move into these new spaces. And we have the Nine of Wands coming up next. So there's a lot of guard that comes up with this Nine of Wands. There's a lot of energy that's kind of being like held on to almost. You can see that he's kind of on guard and he's very protective. He's on the lookout, like hyper vigilant. And again, this could be, I don't know, for you guys, my Aquarians out there, this could be you kind of putting up that emotional guard where you're not opening yourself up to connect with the outside world, and you're not opening yourself up to connect with kind of these new directions or new experiences in your life. Maybe you're getting held back by some of the judgments or discernments or decisions that are kind of coming through, but they're not exactly what direction you thought they were going in. And so there's this element of hesitation there. There's this element of guard, maybe even of holding on to that old structure, that old way of living, but we're kind of dropping that. We're dropping that through this full moon to build a new level of stability, to build a new castle for ourselves. But first we've got to get out there from behind this castle wall and kind of explore what's going on. So in any case, I love you guys all so much, and I will see you next time.